If you were a Minecraft player from 2020 to 2022, you basically couldn't escape Bedwars from showing up in your feed no matter how much you tried. This goes for if you were a survival player, a dream stan, a redstoner, a modded enjoyer, or just a straight up PvPer in both 1.15, which by the way was the current version at the start of 2020. Yes, I know, we're all getting old, okay, you don't have to remind me. Or 1.8, no matter who you were in Minecraft, you knew Bedwars. It was insane. Hypixel was breaking records left and right for player counts, but today, as we all know, that isn't the case anymore. I'm gonna say this now before I get the "bro, stop the yap, we've heard this all before" spiel in the comments, alright? No, I'm not here to talk about how Bedwars is dying or really talk down to the community like I'm some sort of know-it-all, okay? It's about bringing Bedwars back and the ideas that I have not only from myself, but from the Minecraft community as a whole. So trust me on this, you're gonna want to hear this because if the community talks about this enough, we could revamp the whole genre. But before I do that, I'd like to take 2 seconds to talk to you guys about this video's sponsor, Hone. Hone is a free-to-use software that optimizes your computer's gaming performance by applying various tweaks to game settings, network settings, and system settings. Whether you have a low-end or high-end computer, Hone is worth trying because to varying degrees, all computers have bloatware or other configurations which can hold them back from running at their peak potential. Even I, having an older computer myself, was able to see some decent increases to my FPS just by trying out Hone. The best part about Hone is that on top of being free, it's also extremely safe to use as it's rated 4.2 stars on Trustpilot with over 250,000 active users. Plus, all optimizations made using Hone can be easily reverted within the application itself. The free version of Hone comes with several awesome optimizations, but premium comes with over 100 and much more. So if you're in need of an FPS boost, I highly encourage you to give Hone a try. Thank you to Hone for supporting my content, and let's get back to the video. Firstly, to create a strong plan to make Bedwars popular again, it's going to require an analysis of the genre as a whole. We can break down Bedwars content into many different subcategories, but I'd say that the largest are as follows: bridging, PvP and competitive Bedwars, Bedwars commentary, and Bedwars challenges. Now if we look at all of these categories and really think about what's survived in the media landscape for this genre, it's abundantly obvious that nearly every single one of these categories are merely a fraction of what they once were. I can already hear it in the comments now, but Dario, everyone was inside during COVID, which led to more players. And alright, that's fine, that might be the case, but by that same logic, people could have went to play another game. All COVID did was bring people inside. It didn't make them pick up the game and decide to play it. It was the creators who made content on Bedwars that did. This might seem obvious, but there's actually a lot to this. Looking at the current Bedwars scene, who from the peak era is still making content like they used to? Unfortunately, there aren't many. Of course, you have creators like wallibear, GamerBoy80, bedlessnoob, and some others, but for each creator I can name, there's like 5 more that have quit the game or switched to newer versions of Minecraft entirely. So Dario, you might say, are you saying that it's the creator's fault for Bedwars existing in its current state? That is exactly not what I'm saying. I'm not blaming creators for feeling tired of making Bedwars content at all. I mean, imagine having to make videos on the exact same topic over and over and over with no major changes added to the game in years, other than the Slumber Hotel of course, but we'll talk about that later. Anyone would get bored, let alone creators who have pressure on them to constantly keep it fresh for their audience or suffer the consequences. By sticking to a game that barely changes, creators felt the pressure to abandon the game or move on completely, and no one can blame them for that. The thing is, the need for change is the second major problem that many seem to misunderstand because keeping it fresh in Bedwars isn't as easy as it seems. In an attempt to make the game feel fresh and exciting, over the past couple of years, Hypixel has added 2 new features to Bedwars that have been kind of looked at as cool changes, but not exactly what people were hoping for. The first is rotating weekly items that add new features to the base game each week, and the second is the Slumber Hotel questline, which adds Skyblock style quests and storytelling to Bedwars. Both of these were largely welcomed additions to the game, but I don't think I'm the only one who thinks this when I say I kinda wanted something more, and that's exactly where the problem lies. Everyone wanted the Bedwars update to be something new and refreshing to the game, but it didn't really change the game at all, and this was done for good reason. It seems to be that the only thing the community can agree upon is that they can't agree upon what should be brought into the game next. I've seen people talk about making major changes to the items, traps, and much more, but if that was to happen, I don't think that the community would see this change as something to be welcomed with open arms. From my point of view, it looks like whichever way Hypixel goes with updating the current version of Bedwars, so long as they change the base mechanics, they're gonna upset people. But if they don't update the game, well, then they're not doing enough. You see how this is a problem? Hypixel is caught in a Bedwars dilemma where they do what they can to balance the desires of people who demand change with those who don't want anything changed, and the result is the current state of the game today. Hypixel can't really change the game, but people constantly say that the game is stale. So people clearly must have a problem with Bedwars then, right? Well, no, actually, people don't seem to hate Bedwars at all, and in fact, I would argue that Bedwars as a concept is an extremely versatile game that can be adapted in so many different ways. Just like how concepts like battle royales or first-person shooter games can also be adapted and modified, each of these game types at their core are the same. Like how each of the Call of Duty games have the same fundamental mechanics, and so does each of the major battle royale games. Bedwars is no different in this respect, as so many games have adopted the Bedwars format and based them off of the Minecraft version. Look at Roblox Bedwars and Fortnite Bedwars. These games have both become quite popular and have also commanded a great deal of attention on YouTube and other platforms. All of them follow the basic principle of fighting other teams to take out beds and be the last one standing, and people enjoy them a ton. Clearly, it's not the idea of Bedwars that's the problem, it's how you apply it as a base game, and this is what's going to be important in bringing back Bedwars to its full potential. Remember, Hypixel Bedwars still does decent numbers for a game that is supposedly so quote-unquote played out, and especially on holidays, these numbers can be quite substantial given the fact that there is way less Bedwars content out there to encourage new players to play the game. This brings me to my last point, before I say what I think would help revive Bedwars. Bedwars as it exists on Hypixel does not enable new players to enjoy the game. Without going too much into detail, I want to explain what it's like for a new player to hop onto Bedwars and try to learn the game from scratch. Imagine you just started playing Minecraft a year ago, or maybe even less. You most likely have learned the 1.9 plus, or commonly known as the 1.20 PvP system. You queue a game, and finally after getting in, someone was queuing with an alt account with an extremely high win-loss ratio, and they absolutely wipe everyone. Alright, you might say to yourself, that was just an unlucky first game. So then you queue again, and you're trying your best to win by doing things that you know. You buy an axe, and you try to PvP with that, you look for a shield, you don't find one, and you realize that, wait a minute, I can't beat anyone with my axe, everyone with swords is absolutely demolishing me. Your knockback is way off, and players are getting hits that are completely foreign to you. You watch a tutorial if you're still determined to play at this point, only to realize that the years or months worth of practice that you have in 1.20 was for nothing if you want to play Bedwars. You basically got to relearn a whole new PvP system. If you can't tell already, no new players are going to want to commit to this with the exception of the very few who are persistent, and you can't really have a functioning and growing community organized this way. If you don't work hard to make sure new players are welcomed into the game easily and can learn how to play in a short period of time, they won't stay, and this is clearly the case. So what's the answer? What's the thing that's going to bring Bedwars back to its status as a super popular minigame? To me, this answer is what should have been the main focus of Hypixel from the beginning, and it's not what you might think, so hear me out in full. We need a 1.20 Bedwars. Now wait, don't go and yell at me in the comments just yet, I promise this isn't a bad idea. The first reason why this isn't a bad idea is that it wouldn't change 1.8 Bedwars if done right. You heard that correctly. I don't think getting rid of 1.8 Bedwars is a good idea. I just want to add 1.20 Bedwars. This way people who enjoy 1.8 Bedwars can have fun in the version that they love, creators can still make videos on that version if they please, and the communities which currently exist can remain as strong as they are without being taken down. The second reason is because when I say we should make 1.20 Bedwars, I don't mean just take 1.8 Bedwars and change the combat. I mean revamp the whole game to be something very different. I'm talking new items, new maps, new plays, new strategies, and so much more. Just look at Hoplite and its success as a server and its strength in making UHC as popular in 1.20 as it is today. Hoplite didn't just copy the idea of UHC, they built upon it and made their game modes and server unique. Hypixel of all servers out there could absolutely do the exact same. Imagine new items that are in 1.20 only, it would be amazing. I'll even list some that I thought would be cool to try out. The first idea I had was an instant place crystal, which is a single crystal bought for 5 emeralds, which adds a crystal PvP element into Bedwars without being super overpowered. Totems of Undying could also be a powerful tool that players could utilize to make intense rush plays even more powerful and could maybe be limited to a single purchase per player per game. Imagine using a Warden Sonic Blast charge. This could allow players to deal damage to opponents at a distance through blocks. Wind charges could enable players to make absolutely insane maneuvers and even cooler plays. Custom weapons like those found in Hoplite or items things like the timed bombs in Sky Battle could be so cool to see in a new Bedwars version. I'd actually be super excited to play this version of Bedwars, and I'm sure tons of creators would be as well. Imagine you enter the Bedwars lobby, and at the back of the Slumber Hotel there's a room that takes you to another lobby. There you will find 1.20 Bedwars with unique stats, unique challenges, and so much more. I think it's safe to say that tons of people would absolutely love this, and Bedwars in 1.20 would be popular for years to come. But sadly, this is not yet a reality. However, it could be if we show interest in it. If you think that this is a good idea, let me know in the comments, and I would love to hear your ideas you have for custom 1.20 items. If we're vocal enough as a community, we could play a big part in making this a reality, and I honestly hope that that happens someday. But for now, I'll continue to show love for Bedwars because it's something that has brought me tons of joy over the years, and I hope that it can continue to do so for the future generations of Minecraft players in the future. That's all for today's video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to check out my lunar cloaks in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.